Are you ready to get rid of your big TV screen and replace it with an imaginary one? A pretend big screen projected onto your optical face holes and being tricked into thinking you're looking at a nice big screen which you'll play your games on and watch your TV on, watch your movies on. Because this is the future we're looking at right now. The earliest, bulkiest stages of it, sure, but we're moving towards it ever faster. Before the year is out, Mark Zuckerberg has promised us this future, being able to play our games via Xbox cloud gaming on huge virtual screens we can freely position around our own homes, resize at will, position anywhere we like in our own spaces, at any angle, at any space, at any time. It's kind of nuts. Late last week, Zuckerberg and several of his assimilated drones took the stage and pulled the final pin on the announcements and release of the new Mta Quest 3 headsets, which I kind of want to keep calling VR headsets because that's what the Oculus Quest was. It was a VR headset, and so was the Oculus Quest 2, and this one just kept being a VR headset when they rebranded it to the Mta Quest 2. It's still VR, but while the Mta Quest 3 is indeed a VR headset, and by all appearances should be a very capable one at that, both in its standalone mode and when connected by USB or Wi-Fi or whatever to a gaming PCs to do full power PC VR, the Quest 3 is also more than simply a new VR headset, an evolution of what the Quest 2 did before it, and indeed the larger part of its marketing and examples of use cases largely ignore VR. Instead, it's being focused on heavily as an MR device, or mixed reality, what we once called augmented reality, but that term over the last half a decade or so has gotten ever more diluted by things like Pokemon Go, which is an AR game, and more useful things like room measurement apps, which use AR to do that. So now we're calling overlaying computer-generated imagery over real-world stuff using cameras and 3D depth mapping and related technologies, specifically when it's presented via stereoscopic head-worn displays and compute devices like the Mta Quest 3 and the Apple Vision Pro, mixed reality instead. At least until that term gets overly diluted, and then we'll need a new one to be more specific about. When Zuckerberg stood on stage at MetaConnect 2023 last week and told us all that Xbox cloud gaming is heading to Quest in December, suddenly a lot of people who don't really care that much about VR started to pay attention. In looking around at reactions to this, I found two very different types of people and different types of reactions. Firstly, those of us who are already into VR, certainly for being eyeballs deep into it for years already, almost exclusively, we're talking about it as a VR device. How would it improve the VR experience? How much better the standalone mode could be with all the extra power of the new Snapdragon chipset? And how much better it will be for PC VR with improved long-term comfort and better lenses that it has, and it's better screens and better IP adjustment, all that kind of stuff. But if you poke your head out of the VR fandom bubble, you're way more likely to see people, and gamers especially, talking about this thing as a virtual monitor instead. Deeply desirous of using it as a way to play traditional games, flat screen games, not VR content, on what appear to be big screens floating in their own rooms. Projecting multiple screens perhaps so they can do multi-screen stuff without the expense and space that physically owning multiple monitors brings with it, or multiple TVs even. Now, you can already do a lot of this in existing VR headsets. I've done it in the Quest 2 here. Not so much the gaming stuff, but I've often sat in virtual cinemas or virtual lounge rooms or on the surface of the moon, whatever kind of environment you could possibly imagine, and watched content displayed on what, inside the VR space, looked like gigantic big TV screens or cinema screens or whatever. It's kind of cool. It's a nice way to share the experience of watching something with friends or even strangers, because you get the feeling of sharing the same space with other people, sharing the experience with other people. And it really does have a very different vibe than just watching the same thing at the same time as someone else in your separate homes, but like maybe you're on the same Discord voice chat or something. It's a completely different feeling being in the same virtual space with them. Even if you're alone, there's a certain mood that can be set in virtual environments while watching movies and the like that just feels different than what you usually experience if you're just sort of sitting on your couch or in your bed doing it. Watching TV, that is. It should be more specific when I phrase things like that. But this MR stuff is different again with the Mta Quest 3 and the Apple Vision Pro, with the apparently surprisingly clear full-color camera pass-through. You'll be able to see your real room, your real desk. Heck, they're apparently even so good you can check your phone messages and whatnot without taking off the headset. But of course, that's all presented to you via cameras and screens, so it can still overlay other stuff too. So you'll be able to set up floating screens alongside a bunch of other decorative or functional items that can actually appear to be locked in place, tracked directly to the real world, You know, a lot like the AR stuff you might have used on your phone already, but in 3D space, presented to you in 3D, kind of like a hologram. It's not really a hologram, but it'll look, you know, like a hologram or a holodeck kind of thing. Just imaginary stuff sitting on your desk or on your kitchen table or on your chair over there. Maybe you could turn your boring ceiling into a view of the stars instead. Your coffee table can have a huge screen floating above it. All kinds of much more interesting things I'm sure will come along. For example, I doubt whether it'll be long before there's an app that plops down a virtual, probably AI interactive anime waifu or husbando, if that's your taste, person into your room. They'll sit on your couch with you. They'll walk around your furniture. They'll maybe pick up some of the other virtual objects you've got scattered around the room, examine them, talk about them, offer them to you. I don't know. Just a crazy new level of immersion and interactivity is possible with this kind of technology. It's very exciting. And what if you could share that kind of virtualized space over your real space with a real person, or at least their avatar, so they could appear to be walking around your furniture, sit on the same couch with you, share the same room, and watch the same movies together, play the same games together? It's all very interesting, and a new kind of social interaction and immersion that's possible with this stuff. I mean, there's a reason VR chat is one of the most popular VR applications and has been for well over half a decade, certainly after its Steam release in 2017. People love it. It's because of the social aspects of VR, sharing the same spaces with people from all over the globe. It's incredibly enticing for a lot of people, even the deeply socially awkward like me. But the mainstream appeal of things like traditional flat screen gaming through streaming services like Xbox Cloud Gaming projected onto imaginary screens, or, you know, locally streamed from your own gaming consoles, much the way you can do already with your phone apps and things like that. You know, on these big screens, in virtual spaces, in potentially shared spaces, you can adjust the size and distance, the scale and position or location and whatever you like in these virtual environments overlaid on your real environment that you could share with other people. It's all very enticing, wouldn't you say? And even when you get to the most sort of dirt basic, simple kind of stuff, like me, for example, I've got a bad back. Sometimes I need to lie down because it hurts to do anything else but lie down. But, you know, I'm not sleepy. I don't want to take a nap or anything. I still want to continue to watch something or play something. So I'll grab the VR headset and I'll project a screen above me. I'm flat on my back, looking at a screen that's, you know, would be on my ceiling if this did, you know, I mean, this does do pass-through camera stuff, but it's horrible. It's black and white and grainy, but the Quest 3 will do it perfectly clear. You know, that kind of thing. There are so many examples of this exciting kind of stuff you can do just with screens alone. Never mind anything else, just with screens, opening up opportunities. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it. How do you feel about it? I'm sure you already let me know in the down below. If you're not, here's your official invitation to do so. And officially, thank you to the patrons scrolling up above there. Yeah, I've got my Quest 3 on the way. The review is going to come. Not sure how quickly I'll get the review done because obviously I won't be able to beat, you know, the first people who have review units already. So I might take a little extra time to do it properly, do it more carefully. But let me know what you want to hear about it, and I'll do my best to accommodate. Thanks for watching. I am Bloody. We'll catch you next time.